Good afternoon. Welcome to the Westport Board of Health, April 18th, 2023 meeting, which I am calling to order with the notices of under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F. This meeting is being recorded, and we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And under the next business item, congratulations to Donna Amaral for being reelected to the Board of Health. So it's time for reorganization of the board. I'm happy to continue as chair, but I'm also happy to cede this chair seat to anybody else who might be interested.
I am not interested.
I support continuity.
I like the continuity too. I think this is a well-oiled machine. I think that we're working really well.
But you take on a lot, so
Yeah.
if you want to.
Well, I'm trying to share the load, and you guys have
Yeah.
been picking up stuff, so.
Okay, all right, well,
Well, what I would encourage though is.
great power comes great responsibility.
That's right. That's right. What I would encourage is for more delegation, or to let us know what you need help with, so that we can then pitch in.
Okay, I will tell you a few things today.
Okay. So do we need to vote on that, or?
Yes, I would take a motion for,
I move that we continue on with Tanya Ryden as chair, Phil Weinberg as vice chair, and myself as secretary.
Second.
motion has been made and seconded to retain the board structure as is. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you for your confidence and support. Okay, moving on to the Director of Public Health written report. Any questions on that?
I have no questions.
I don't either.
Okay.
No, never mind. No, I had a question on something else, but that wasn't.
All right. We'll go to Matt's update.
All right, thank you. So COVID, for the month of April, the state's reporting 4 cases, no hospitalizations, no deaths. With that being said, do you want me to continue to report the COVID cases? It's been, with everybody having rapid home test kits, nothing is really getting reported to the state unless it's, through some mandated testing that has to go to the state. But we're seeing just, we know that there's more than 4 cases out there, but the state's only reporting 4.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to continue this as part of my report every meeting?
Why don't we make it, if there's some sort of change in the low level of cases, if there's an uptick or, hospitalization or death, that you report. Otherwise, we can.
Yeah, we could still report on other things. I know the CDC is going to be meeting about the second booster for the elderly and immunocompromised people.
Right.
They just haven't met yet, so that's going to become, so we can report on things like that as they happen, or if there's some major event, as you said. Okay.
I agree with that. I think it's
Yeah, I
kind of
do as well.
misleading for the reason that you said, Matt, to say there were 4 COVID cases. It's just lack of reporting rather than necessarily fair representation of, what the rate of infection is.
Right.
So.
Well, I think the overall trend has been positive.
Oh,
and,
definitely, yeah. I mean, I think it's a
yes.
good story. I just
Yeah.
think, it's,
Right.
it's just not relevant data anymore at this point.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Do home test kits require their infection to be reported to the state, or they just kind of like?
No, there's no requirement.
How would anybody know?
I think the labs have to report, and situations where people.
Like a PCR test,
Yeah.
you
Or
do it at the
yeah.
doctor's office or something.
Yeah.
Those get reported.
Yeah.
But-
Okay, pump reports, everything looked okay. Director approved plans. Let me just get my sheet out here.
Before you start going through it, that was my question on B&T flipping, where you had an acronym which was MC,
Yes.
and I didn't know what that was.
So,
But you don't have to jump there, you can go through it.
that's okay, I'll just say it's a funny story, because I was focused on looking at this list later today, and because Nancy types this list.
Yeah.
And I said, Nancy, what is MC? I said, I cannot think of what the acronym, what this stands for. She looks at me, she goes, really? It's a typo. It's a new construction.
I
It
see.
was supposed to be NC.
Okay, got it.
I have a question mark near that as well.
All right, so we have a plan for Eduardo Oliveira for 10 Christine Drive, lot size 40,481 square feet. It's a upgrade, 3 bedrooms, Presby system. It's been through Concom. We have a plan for Coric Demago, 2 Atlantic Ave, 10,890 square foot lot, upgrade, 4 bedrooms, using a stone bed and an Advantech system. It's been through Concom. This one will require a 4-bedroom deed restriction. We have one for Long Built Homes, 121 Gifford Road on a 60,000 square foot lot, new construction, 4 bedrooms, utilizing a quick 4 and a microfast, and it's been through Concom. Another one for Long Built Homes on 127 Gifford Road on a 60,000 square foot lot, new construction, 4 bedrooms, quick 4 and a microfast. It's been through Concom. We have one for a Robert Fontaine, 485 American Legion Highway on 3 acres. It's an upgrade of a 2-bedroom system, utilizing a stone bed.
Why
So,
would it need a deed restriction?
Because, it's kind of, so in the, it says that you have to design a system for a minimum of 3 bedrooms, but if you design it, you can design it for 2, but you have to put a deed restriction on it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense with a 3-acre property, but it doesn't give you that exception not to do it.
Okay,
So we just do it.
okay. And the property owner's aware of that?
Then we have one for Beverly Ann Amido, 355 Tickle Road on a 20,000 square foot lot. It's an upgrade of a 3-bedroom system. Presby and a singular is being used, and it's been through Concom, and this one will require a 3-bedroom deed restriction. B&T Flipping, Drift Road, 60,616 square foot lot, new construction, 4 bedrooms, quick 4 and a microfast, been through Concom. This one here for Kenneth Manchester on 1546B Drift Road on 1.4 acres. This is just a macerator and a pump going up to the, getting pumped up to the system for a bathroom and a workshop. There's no bedrooms, it's not gonna be converted to a bedroom, and it's been through Concom. Then we have one for Joseph Swift on 155C in Cherry and Webb Lane, on a 63,336 square foot lot, an upgrade of a 3-bedroom system. This is a demo and a rebuild utilizing a microfast. And this one does not require a deed restriction.
Okay. So all the new constructions will require the total nitrogen testing and the upgrade for Swift. Some of the others will require reporting to Barnstable, but no nitrogen testing. Okay. Any questions on those?
None.
Okay.
So I move that we approve the director-approved plans with the added requirement of 2 Atlantic Ave with a 4-bedroom deed restriction, for 485 American Legion Highway with a 2-bedroom deed restriction, and 355 Tickle Road with a 3-bedroom deed restriction.
Second.
Just a question, we don't need to, because it's in our reg, we don't need to articulate the total nitrogen testing requirement?
It's just, any IA system requires 2 times a year nitrogen testing.
Yeah, okay, all right. Then I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Okay.
Okay, moving on to animal control. So all in all, it's been very busy in animal control, and this time of year now, we start to get busier with people moving back into town for the summer, and more and more residents or renters coming into town. But as you're all aware, animal control only has one full-time officer. Our ACO does a very good job of covering the department. That should be really staffed with a minimum of another half a person. So we should have at least 1.5 people to cover everything across the board. Our current ACO works Monday to Friday, 9 to 4, and he's on call Monday through Friday after 4, and he works every other weekend on an on-call basis. So every other weekend, when Nick is off, or Nick is on vacation, or has a day off, the town has no animal control coverage. At one point, Fall River was helping us out, but they had to pull back for a couple different reasons, so they're no longer helping us out. This past weekend, we had an incident where Nick wasn't available. He was off, it was his off weekend, and he wasn't anywhere near to come in and help. And the police department called, and they were frustrated because there was nobody that knew. There was a vicious dog thing going on in town. So the police department ended up calling Dartmouth, and Dartmouth ended up coming out to help. But then, afterwards, talking it through, they can't continue to do that either because they have staffing issues as well. So this morning we talked with New Bedford Animal Control, who said that they would come out and help us in extreme emergencies only. But they average anywhere from 400 to 600 calls every 2 weeks for their animal control department. They told us, so that I don't see how they can help us with anything. So, but I appreciate that they're going to try. So we're hoping to hire a part-time ACO as of July 1st. Hopefully our operating, our budget passes town meeting. Within the budget is the money to start seeking a part-time ACO. I completely understand everybody's frustration. I hope, they understand that we do, but no matter how you slice it or dice it or move one guy around, there's always gonna be a gap in coverage, always. We can't work Nick 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. He's entitled to vacation, sick, or personal time. We just do our best when he's not there, so. I just, wanted to let the board know that, and hopefully, after town meeting, we can start pursuing a part-time person. I don't know, just the town is left with no coverage when Nick is off, or on his off weekend. And it's not fair for me to have Nick say, well, you gotta work every single weekend, or you gotta work every 7 days. I don't think I can do that legally, so.
No, I don't think so.
So, all right, so that was that.
I think the Constitution outlawed that.
Yeah. All right, transfer station, everything seems to be running well. The contractors that we're using to help really is working out. And the staff down there is doing a good job, so I really no complaints there. At least today.
I just want to jump in with a reminder that this weekend, Earth Day weekend, or whatever, Earth Weekend, the Bike and Walking Committee is sponsoring a free bike recycling event. So people can bring unused bikes down there, can also pick up a bike if they find one of interest down there. So.
And that's gonna start the 21st, that's gonna go the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd?
I think it's just Saturday and Sunday.
So just the 22nd and 23rd?
Yeah.
And I have just a reminder for animal control that there is a collection box outside of animal control. A student is collecting items to take to shelters for animals, collecting towels, dog food, toys. So if anybody wants to bring it into the annex during our business hours, there's a box there. It did fill up once already, so continue to support the students' efforts. Thank you.
And I just wanted to, while I'm on the director report here, just kind of update the board on my vacation time. I have about 16 or so days left to use, so I don't really have any vacations planned, so I'll probably just take off Fridays when I can. There's 12 Fridays left in this fiscal year. I don't know if I'll get to take every single one off, but I'll do my best. And that just leaves 4 or so days that I'll try to use. See
We're
what
gonna
happens.
order you to take a week off. See how the town does without you around.
Are you done with your report? Because I just had
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
So I received, notices about the MIHA meeting, and I was just, there were some things on the agenda that I was curious enough about going to. I wanted to get your take on that, or whether you would want someone from the board to go, or maybe you were
Can
planning to
you
go.
refresh us what MIHA stands
Yes,
for?
really.
Massachusetts
Environmental Health Association.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm already signed up and going. That's the 75th annual conference in Foxborough.
Yeah,
So I'll be happy to take a board member with me if they would like to go.
okay.
When is it, Matt?
May 24th, it's a Wednesday.
Oh, I mean, from the summary description, I mean, they're having a presentation of, I guess, the annual sum up of all the legal cases affecting boards of health. And there was also a climate segment of it. And I just thought, because of, on the Climate Resiliency Committee, that it might be worthwhile for me to go to that.
Okay. Given that
But,
you're a lawyer also, I think that sounds like a
yeah,
really
so-
good idea.
but there's a lot of it that is not as pressing, so I have to figure it out. But anyway, maybe we can talk about that too.
Sure.
Okay,
I just, let me know,
certainly-
because I have to register you.
yeah,
So, just let me know if you want to go,
Okay.
and I'll get you registered.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, I would certainly support covering a fee for that. And having Phil represent the Board of Health. Thank you. Okay, it is 4:20, so I'm going to skip over the minutes and other business at the moment, and we will call our first hearing. This is a variance hearing for 18 Pauline Street, owned by Stephen and Susan Costa, a 3-bedroom repair using a Presby with a Singulaire on a 7,200 square foot lot with George Ayub representing. Good afternoon, Mr. Ayub.
For the record, my name is George Ayub. Good evening, guys. I designed the septic system at 18 Pauline Street for Stephen and Susan Costa. Currently, there is an existing single family house, 3-bedroom, that has a failing septic system. And that area, they got all small lots around it. I designed the septic system using the singular type with type DN. I know Mr. Matt had an issue with that, but I'm using the DN type. Matter of fact, I'm showing it right in the unit here in the profile. I'm showing it in the calculation. I'm showing it right here, that unit.
Well, you got it listed as a TNT DN.
DN.
There's no such model. It's just a DN.
DN, it is a DN.
Yes.
It is a, basically,
So
they
we
call it.
was confused.
It's confusing, but DN, this is the unit in DN that sent the effluent back to the system and they tested. Matter of fact, I'm showing it right here also. Type DN in the calculation, right in the general notes. This is top of the line, basically, this one right now. I mean, we are
For
using
singular,
Singular,
yes.
singular type. Currently, the existing houses are around this building, around this lot, they're using conventional systems. And since the lot is a little bit small, I'm requesting 3 variances. One from Pauline Street, 18 Pauline Street, which is this is the subject. We're not changing the setback. Whatever was there before, the leaching field will be similar distance to the existing well. I got 14 Pauline Street. I'm reducing it from 86.8 to 83.8. Matter of fact, the 14 Pauline Street, their septic system is closer to their well than this one. Then I got another one on 33 William Street. We're not reducing it at all. Basically, whatever was there, 89.3, and the proposed setback is 89.3, same setback. Even the 33 William Street, his septic system is closer to his own well than our proposed system. Again, we're using the singular type that will require testing, and I'm using Presby system also as leaching field. And those are the only 3 variances I'm requesting. Basically, everything is the same over there. Hopefully, we get your approval.
Okay. My packet didn't have the review sheet, so
No.
I didn't double check.
And nobody knows whether the review sheet, and we don't actually know that John reviewed this one. We don't, it just kind of, this was kind of a rushed one that we had to get onto the agenda, so. But anyways, I reviewed the plan and, you know, except for the terminology, thing, everything, you know, George designed is fine. It looks right. Butter notifications?
I got the notification
Okay.
here. Also, I got the results from the well.
Okay.
The results meet the requirement, except the nitrate is 10.1, and the limit is 10 for state, and I know the town is 5. That's why I'm using the notification system.
Is that
And I
the,
got the certification right there, this for the GERB piece, and those are the required, those are the signature.
Great, thank you.
so the test results are for the subject property, the 10?
Everything meet the requirement except the nitrate is slightly high, 10.1, and bacteria, everything is fine, there's no, everything.
Well, as we say, because 10.1 is above the safe drinking water level, we would recommend the homeowner use bottled water.
Okay.
I
They
mean,
are aware
until
of
they
that.
retest, and hopefully with the new system, the nitrates will come down and the water will be safe again.
Hopefully it will come down, okay, thanks.
I don't know if
Well,
I think we
these
need-
are,
you want to see just the test results?
I
Yeah.
come.
okay, I'll go with the
Oh,
stuff.
put it back in this, just to keep it
Okay.
together.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Ayub?
Nope.
All right, I would entertain a motion. This will require a deed restriction, still needs Concom, reporting to Barnstable, 3 years of well testing, et cetera.
So I will move to approve the plan for Stephen and Susan Costa at 18 Pauline Street, a 3-bedroom repair on a plan dated 4/6/23, is that right? With a singular DN and a Presby AES, subject to Concom review, a 3-bedroom deed restriction, well setback waiver for 18 to 61.6 feet, for 14 Pauline to 83.8, and to 33 Williams at 89.3. The hold harmless agreement, 3 years of well testing, and 2 years of nitrogen testing.
Reporting to Barnstable. Okay. I'll second that. Anything else? Then I'll call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Phil,
That's
did you mention an IAD notice?
No, he didn't.
No, well, the
IA.
IA requirements. was
Oh,
what
well,
it
I just assumed that they'll have to comply with all the approvals.
Okay, well, yeah, they're just, sometimes we say it in the
Okay.
motion.
Oh, okay.
said. We're not consistent about that. It's sort of,
Right.
if it's already required, sort of IA, compliance with IA requirements.
Yeah.
Okay. So we voted. Just, can you make a note on this one? Nancy has on the cover letter that it's Advantext, you know, the things she's looking for,
Yeah,
and it's singular, so just
Yeah.
make sure she's not looking for the wrong thing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're all set. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Ayub.
Thank you.
Just in time, Mr. Potter. We have 2 minutes before Mr. Potter's hearing, so could we take up the minutes of April 3rd? Any questions, comments, concerns?
I have none.
I'm fine.
Okay, so I move that we approve the minutes for April 3rd, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay. And we can probably also just cover the, under other business, we need to vote to unappoint Diane Heath as special agent for the tobacco control program for Westport.
So I will move to, I guess, rescind the appointment of Diane Heath as a tobacco control coordinator
I second
and
that.
part-time inspector.
Motion made and seconded to rescind the appointment of Diane Heath as special agent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. I think we're close enough to 4:30. I'm going to call the 4:30 PM hearing for 50 Robert Street, Rogelio Amaral. This is a 4-bedroom repair using a quick 4 on a 20,000 square foot lot with Len Potter representing. Good afternoon, Mr. Potter.
Good afternoon. So this, the existing home, we went up and did a percolation test on the property. We were unable to get a perk rate because it was still wet. So we did a sieve analysis. And actually we're here before the board. There's no variances required. Here before the board to just approve the sieve analysis used in the design of the system. It ended up being a fine sanding loam, and the design rate was 30 minutes per inch. And I sent a copy of the sieve analysis. The other issue on this plan, Matt showed me today, is that the town record, the assessor's records say 4-bedroom house, and it's not a 4-bedroom house. You have a plan in your file that says 3-bedroom house, and that's fine. So what I will do is I will reduce the size of the field to accommodate a 3-bedroom home. Sorry about that, but that's what I ended up with.
Okay, so it's there are actually 3 bedrooms there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
That's
could
our
be,
record from the file.
yeah, there could be 4, I don't know. It's, they only want to fix it for what it
Oh.
is.
That's the note in the file. Or is where, is
These
it?
are the calculations
Oh, I
from
see.
the plan. It's
Oh, I
an
see.
existing
Mhm.
3-bedroom system.
Okay, yeah.
And I went by the assessor's records.
Okay.
So I will change the plan, reduce the size to accommodate a 3-bedroom system. And then if you wish, there's no variances, Matt can approve the plan after I do make those changes. That's only my suggestion.
Okay.
But we do need approval of the city.
Can you reduce, I mean, you have a 2,000 gallon tank, is that,
2,000 gallon tank is a combo pump chamber,
Ah,
1,500
okay.
fine with a 500 gallon pump chamber.
okay, because it's a raised system?
It's a raised system, the water table is very high in
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Okay, any other questions from the board?
No.
So I think we certainly can approve the sieve analysis. We can approve or, the contingent upon some revised plan for a 3-bedroom house and design, or just let it go through as a director's report at that review. It certainly doesn't need to come back here.
I'm fine with that. So I move that we approve we can't really approve the plan dated 3/22/23 because it's going to be changed, right?
Yeah, it'll be a revision date.
Okay, I move that we approve the plan that will be revised and presented to the director of the board, Matt Armendo, for a 3-bedroom upgrade to 50 Robert Street, owned by Rogelio Amaral, no relation to me. with following conditions. Would there be conditions of a hold harmless? 3-bedroom deed restriction, Concom review, and obviously the revised plan to be presented to Mr. Armendo, and use of a sieve analysis.
Excuse me, Mrs. Chairman, why would you need a whole harmless agreement?
Yeah, no, I realize that you really don't need a hold harmless, yes. Thank you.
I would second that, but just a semantic comment for the minutes, which
Okay,
I think that we would consider this a repair
Yes.
because it's not an increase in flow. And
okay.
even though so I just think for clarity of the minutes, it should be a 3-bedroom repair. Because
Is that true?
I agree with that, as opposed to an upgrade.
as opposed to an upgrade.
Mr. Armendo?
The way the Board of Health tracks,
Terms.
Right.
the way the Board of Health tracks what the system is.
It's not official lingo, it's our lingo.
Yeah,
But
that's
the
the
official
problem.
lingo is an upgrade.
Yeah.
And
then there's
So
an
you're right,
upgrade,
it is
increase
an
in
upgrade
flow, and
under
then there's new
Title V.
construction.
We call it a repair,
So I'm doing it based on what we call it, not what Title V calls it.
right,
Okay.
because otherwise, we would have to go back and redo our whole tracking, not for this case, but if we suddenly switched.
Absolutely correct, I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. It gets a little confusing, upgrade and repair.
Yeah.
Do you have that straight, Bob?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're gonna just call it, so I would second it and
And with that change.
clarify it as a 3-bedroom repair. But
Okay,
then it still needs a deed restriction, right?
yes.
Yes, I
and
think
she
I said that.
gave
I
it
did
to
say
the
that.
Okay, so then I
deed
seconded.
restriction And sieve analysis. So the motion has been made and seconded to approve the project at 50 Robert Street with an updated plan. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We're a little early for the 4:40 PM hearing. Do we have a butter notifications on that one?
Okay, so we have to wait.
Okay. I don't think anybody's gonna come in the next 5 minutes. But I suppose we should wait to be official.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, then, we have 5 minutes. I'm gonna turn back to the, board member updates. And I'll start with Donna.
Team Cow was a mooing success. About 180 people came to help clean our Westport. We filled 2 dumpsters, and it was actually a good day. So it was very successful. We will also be doing it again in the fall. However, we don't have a date yet for the fall cleanup.
And I did participate, as you mentioned earlier, and I will say, the new pickers that they have with those little suction cups are wonderful. I could pick glass bottles way into the, into the briars with that thing, so I want one for myself. It was really good.
Well, we hope that people return, a lot of people did return them so that we could reuse them
Yeah, no, I
every year.
returned
and-
mine, yeah. but-
And we have the new vests this year, so. But that was successful. I continue to work on Mental Health Awareness Month. We will have 3 events. 2 of them will be at the middle high school, and one of them will be here at the annex in the gym. And I will be posting flyers by the end of this month, and we'll be doing some advertising, and also will submit the Shorelines, which focuses on Mental Health Awareness Month and the events that the Board of Health is sponsoring.
Okay, and maybe we can put it on the website, the Board of Health website, those events as well. Great, thank you. You want to remind us of the dates?
May 8th, which is the one I will be doing, and I actually will be doing it with 3 of the adjustment counselors at the middle high school. And we have a special guest, a young lady, 13, her name is Marissa De Silva. She's a Dartmouth Middle School student who will be speaking about her journey. And I heard her read a poem at a dance recital or a dance showcase and that I went to. And it was so beautiful, I wanted to use it. And her aunt is a grief counselor and a former high school student with me. So we are working together, so she's going to say a little bit about her own journey and what helped her. So, and then the one on the 13th is going to be here at the Annex, and it's about, it's called Stress Less. So it'll be focused on managing stress, and we have the director of the Heron Educational Center for the Human Spirit, who will be doing it with me. We'll have discussion, and then we'll do practices of yoga, gentle yoga and meditation. And the one on the 13th will be at the high school, Dr. Yagman.
I'm sorry, you said the 13th for the Stress Less event?
Oh, the 13th, and the 16th is the one for Dr. Yagman, with Dr. Yagman and a director of the maternal depression task force in the Cape and the Islands, Carrie McCarthy. So, and that one is about postpartum depression and anxiety, and I'm working on the title. It's a work in progress right now, but.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, let's make sure we get that stuff on the website as well. Okay, thank you. I'm going to hold off on your update and mine until after these hearings. It's about 4:40, so I can call the next hearing. This is for John Reed at 7 Lenox Avenue. This is a 3-bedroom pair using a stone bed on a 10,875 square foot lot with Len Potter representing.
Okay, Len Potter, Westlaw Environmental, representing John Reed, 7 Lenox Avenue. We have the variances necessary to complete this repair, and they are all well setback distances. The owner's well is 78 feet in the proposed system. The 3 Lenox Avenue next door is 84 feet in the proposed system, and 5 Elmwood Avenue to the rear and to the right of this property is 72 feet from the proposed leach field. I kind of had to balance things out there. The water tests have been done and submitted to the board. The 2 wells, do you have the water reports? I
I do.
got them over here. 3 Lenox, 5 Elmwood, and a nitrate level of less than .006. I'm sorry, .001. And then 5 Elmwood had a nitrate level of, let's see,
0.01.
yeah, .01 again. And, let's see, 7 Lenox had the same situation, less than .01.
3 Lenox had 6.0.
3 Lenox had 6.0.
Mhm.
That's the last one that I listed. So 2 of the wells tested virtually perfect. Those are both artesian wells. The well next door on Lenox is a shallow groundwater well. In my opinion, testing 6 milligrams per liter is still pretty good water for that area.
Okay. This is also in an IWPA, right?
What's that?
It's in an IWPA?
Not that I know of.
It is. I checked.
Where's the public water supply there?
Um,
I just did go right behind it. Oh, boy.
well, I'm not,
Let me see.
I have printed out the, sort of a summary, but I I was checking them, so, that one in particular. Um, Anyways, it doesn't, I mean, it's just one more data point, it's not gonna change things, but,
No.
yeah. You can't tell from this one, I looked property specific, but anyways, okay. You all set from your report?
I'm all set with that.
I'll turn to Matt for his report.
So the plan is fine, we just to say that there was a discrepancy from the assessor's card to the design of the system. So John went out on Friday last week and did a bedroom count and confirmed that there were 3 bedrooms. So we're good on that.
Okay. Yeah, this is also obviously very close to Bread and Cheese Brook.
Mm.
Yeah, Conservation approved this plan. This plan was submitted in 2018. And Conservation approved it then. I submitted it to Conservation for a review again, and Chris said because of the COVID extensions, this, that, and the other, that I don't have to file another RDA on it. So
Okay.
Chris will stamp the plan if he hasn't done so already.
Yeah, it's stamped.
Okay.
Well, actually,
It's
it's stamped of 18,
Yeah.
2018. So do you want Conservation to restamp it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, he will, no problem.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Nope.
And those are the abutter notifications there.
I've got
Yes.
them, 2. Button and Savage.
Okay, would entertain a motion?
Okay, I move that we approve the plan for 7 Lenox Ave, owned by John Reed. Plan dated 10/20/18, with the following variances. That the owner's well is 78 feet from the SAS rather than 100. On 3 Lenox Street, 84 feet from the SAS instead of 100. And 5 Elmwood Ave, 72 feet from the SAS rather than 100, with the following conditions. Hold harmless, 3-bedroom deed restriction, and Concom review restamp.
And do we have to do 3 years of well testing?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, she
and-
did mention.
Okay, I missed that,
And,
sorry.
and 3, no, I didn't say it, 3 years of well testing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the project at 7 Lenox Avenue for 3-bedroom repair. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you.
I want to say something about the high levels of I think it's 7 Lenox, if the family's aware of some of the health issues with high levels of manganese. So I encourage them to look at that because it can cause some neurological problems if people are.
Manganese?
Yeah, if it's high levels in a body and a person's not able to excrete it,
Right.
it can cause neurological problems. And the high iron as well, if there's certain health conditions that people can't remove iron, and so therefore it builds up. So I just hope that they are aware of it and they pay attention to.
Manganese and iron are naturally occurring metals around the water.
Yeah, but high levels and in certain health conditions can cause liver failure. So I'm just pointing that out, so that people who are drinking it should be aware of that, that's all.
You get my letter from Lois? I sent it to Nancy. You have to send it to her.
Is that what you?
That's the one I sent to you, Lois. I sent it to Nancy now.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I'm sure she has it.
I sent it late in the day.
Okay,
She called me on it.
okay. Yeah, then, thank you.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Potter.
Yeah, you can get into that stress class, Donna.
Oh, do we do the
free.
vote? I said it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't,
Motion
you
made
didn't all
and
vote.
seconded.
Yeah.
I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Bob, for
Thank
keeping
you.
us organized.
I said, maybe you can get into that stress class, Donna.
I would love to have you there. You did a nice job. You were sitting outside the office, though you looked like you were meditating there.
Oh, I've been going hard, let me tell you. Thank you, guys.
How many people did the pickup, the number?
About 180.
180? Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple minutes before I can call the 4:50 hearing, so I'm going to turn next to Phil for his board member update.
Well, I was just gonna use the opportunity to talk about the discussion that came about in the last day or so about the proposal that was in the governor's budget to revise the tax rebate for upgrades of, as it turned out, failed septic systems, and increasing the rebate, the annual rebate, or the rebate to $12,000 and allowing it to be collected in two $6,000, $6,000 for each year, each of 2 years, so that you can actually spread it out more, and that proposal did not make it into the House's budget, and so there was some discussion among members of the Watershed Alliance, who was trying to organize support for the increase in the rebate. And so, and I don't know, we don't necessarily have to get into a lot of detail about it, but I think that there's interest in following up on the Senate side in the legislature to see if they would support that, and I think it has financial benefits for residents in our community, and so I don't know if there's, in the next few minutes, we want to talk about that or not, but I think the suggestion was that there be a representative of the board who would reach out to Senator Roderick's legislative aide and maybe a representative of the Alliance and talk about what, if there was an opportunity to do something on the Senate side with the bill, and one, in addition to the money part of it, which is, is important, the current law only limits the rebate to failed septic systems. And what we have learned through the work that we've been doing in our file review, and what DEP had proposed in their estuary regulations, is that failed systems only represent a very small percentage of the systems that might be required to be upgraded, including our efforts to have cesspools upgraded without necessarily having them determined to be failed. And so whether this would be an opportunity to revise, as part of the overall piece, not only increase the amount of the rebate, but also to make it available to systems that have been upgraded based on local boards of health orders or DEP requirements, without necessarily going through the restriction of the system being failed. So
Let's circle back to that after we do our hearing,
Yeah.
and see, there may be something that we will need to put on an agenda if we wanted to take a formal vote, but
Yeah.
certainly we can discuss it.
Yeah.
So it is 4:50, so I'm going to call the hearing for David Maher at 29 Fairway Drive. This is a 3-bedroom repair, using a Quick 4 with an Advantex D-Night system. This is on a 12,109 square foot lot. Enfield Engineering is representing. Good afternoon.
Hi, Rich Riccio from Field Engineering, on behalf of Mr. Marr. And, yeah, we're here before you. The applicant is proposing to tear down the existing structure at 29 Fairway Drive and replace with a new dwelling, a 3-bedroom dwelling, to replace what's there existing as a 3-bedroom house. We've been before conservation and received an order of conditions for the proposed work, and we've also been to the zoning board of appeals for the pre-existing non-conforming use on the property. We're proposing an Advantex denitrification system in accordance with your local regulations this is considered a new construction under the local regulations, has a tear down and a rebuild. And we're also putting a new leaching facility in, consisting of 52 high-capacity infiltrator chambers, roughly in the same footprint of the previous field, which was actually installed about 10 or 11 years ago. Has a repair. We are requesting a few local variances, namely a reduction in the setback to the wetland at the back of off the property, and a reduction in the setback to the well on-site, the on-site well, which we're actually improving the conditions from 69 feet to 79 feet. We're over 100 feet from any of the neighboring wells, so we didn't need to request any waivers to those locations. We also did test pits on the site as required. We did POSIB analysis on that and designed in accordance with that, the results of that, which were consistent with the previous test pits that were done back in 2011, I believe. Today, I did submit the well testing on our existing well to the office. I had gotten that the end of last week. None of the numbers really stuck out at me on the well. The nitrate was 3. There was no detect on the nitrite, no detect on the ammonia in the well. So.
And no coliform?
Yes, no coliform.
Okay, great.
So that is what we're proposing to do. I'd be happy to take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Mr. Riccio. I'm going to turn first to Matt for his report.
I've talked to Mr. Riccio a few times and been over this a few times, and everything looks good. So.
Okay. I'll open it up to the board.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Obviously, this is a very small lot. This is also in an IWPA. It's really important to have a D-nite system. It will require the 4 times per year total nitrogen testing given the site conditions per DEP approval. Under our regs, we only require 2 unless DEP is more stringent, which it is in this case. So since we have no other questions, I would entertain a motion.
So I would move to approve the plan for David Maher at 29 Fairway Drive, a 3-bedroom repair, on a plan dated 3/13/23, with a Quick 4 and an Advantex AX20, subject to a 3-bedroom deed restriction, an upgrade waiver with a wetland setback of 26 feet rather than 50, and a well setback at the site of 79 feet rather than 100. Sieve analysis, 3 years of well testing, 2 years of nitrogen testing, and compliance with relevant DEP approvals.
And
Did you say hold harmless?
Oh, and a hold harmless.
And COMCOM.
Oh, that was okay. COMCOM and hold harmless.
Okay, second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the project at 29 Fairway Drive. All in favor, with those conditions, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Richards.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did that.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yes, you too.
Good night.
Okay, so back to the discussion about the septic credit. Let me just, sort of, for the audience, in case there's somebody watching. Currently, under Mass General Law, there is a $6,000 septic credit for people who have to repair a failing septic system. The credit is, comes right off the tax burden. So if you owe $6,000 in taxes, you could take a maximum of $1,500 a year over 4 years. So you would get, you reduce your tax burden. So that is very helpful to homeowners who need to do a septic repair on a failing system. And as Phil noted, there's a proposal to double that to $12,000 and allow it to be extended over up to 6 years or shorter.
And raise it to $6,000 annually rather than the $1,500. So you could take as much as
Right, so it could be
you
done
could do it in
over
2
short.
years.
Right, 2
Yeah.
years up to 6 years, is that right?
I think 5 is what they
5,
said.
okay.
Mhm.
It's just thinking that many people, lower income folks, don't have that high a tax burden, so they would take it out over more years. That, I personally think that's a great idea. It's very supportive of homeowners, particularly those who are financially strained to have to do a repair of a failed septic system. I'm hoping that we can include, expand that to include the cesspools. I think if I read Title V right, we could potentially declare a cesspool in failure based on local environmental conditions, so they could qualify if it didn't, but I'd rather have it in the statute, as clear. Your thoughts on this are to, can you, so I'm gonna turn back to you to
well,
elaborate.
so I guess there's a two-step process. One would be just to talk to Senator Roderick's legislative representative and just see whether there was any viability in adding that provision to what is the existing, but I think hasn't advanced in much as far in the Senate where an additional item could be added, if I'm saying that right. In the House budget has moved to the point where we were told that it was, I guess, not worth it, or an effort to amend that budget would not be fruitful. But where the Senate budget is in the process, it could be amended, or proposed to be amended. And so, but just to get clarification on that, and I guess get clarification from the legislative aid as to what would be realistic in the scope of what could be added. Would it just be limited to the financial part of it, or could we expand the scope or the eligibility for the rebate to these other type of systems, and do it in a more generic way, but maybe specifically, for example, referring to that the upgrade was required either by Title V or local Board of Health, just to clarify that. So we would kind of rely on our regulation, for example, rather than having to make a declaration as to each site, which would be kind of complicated, and so and I think what would then, having gotten that information, then we could come back and, I think that would be just from a timing point of view, because I think the deadline for this is like May 4th or something to actually add something or revise what's out there. So I think from a timing point of view, it would make sense, if we thought about it here, just to do this initial outreach, see what the facts were about it, and then decide, if we wanted to, either by ourselves or in conjunction with the Watershed Alliance, submit a proposal, to do it, or just figure out what the right procedure is. So
Okay.
that's what I would suggest, just to find out, get a better lay of the land.
Right. So I personally am supportive of the septic credit increase and certainly the expansion of eligibility. I think for for proper procedure, we should put it on the agenda for the next meeting to vote as a board, to endorse, because it's not on the agenda, in a substantive way today. But in the meantime, to do that follow-up research so we can determine what kind of support letter to write would be appropriate. And I'm fine with having Phil do that research.
Yeah, so I can just have the conversation. Right now, there's kind of nothing to endorse, but if there was, appetite or interest from the senator's office to have, a formal proposal made to them, then I think we could, move on that. So.
Okay, I do know that
Participate
he's
in that.
very strong, he's strongly in favor of the credit
Yeah,
in general.
Right.
Obviously, it's very important for
Mr.
Westport.
Senator
given
Rodrick, you're talking about?
Senator
Yeah,
Rodrick,
yeah.
as well as
Yeah,
Representative
both of
Schmidt.
them are.
Obviously, it's very important for Westport, given the fact that we have almost all septic infrastructure as opposed to sewer.
right.
So it's a sort of disproportionate impact, and it would be very helpful to homeowners. So let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting, which is it after May 4th? No, when's our next meeting?
May 1st.
May 1st, okay, that's in time.
Yes, the day before the town meeting, yeah.
Oh, right. And then if you could, share your
Yeah, I'll get
findings
back to
beforehand.
Matt, if,
Yeah.
I'll, just see if, what Senator Roderick's office proposes, and that may, is by way of getting together and just a reality check on how, if and how we should move forward.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other things you want to?
No,
Okay.
no, that's it.
Great. I wanted to report to the board that I have completed the data entry for our review of septic files. Thank you for help both from Phil. You did a lot of plan or file reviews. Donna did research and data entry. So we have 9,499 or something like that parcels in town. We did complete the review for, I think we ended up with about 221 in total identified cesspools. We've already had 3 taken off the rolls because updated information that it was upgrades were in process that we didn't capture in our file review, so we're down to 218. We do have, based on the file review, 862 properties with houses built before 1970 with no plan on file. And we have 228 with no plan in the file folder, or no folder with houses built after 1970, which are not, would not have cesspools. A lot of those are newer properties, you know, they're sort of in process, so it's a sort of a misleading number. But we do have a lot that we will need to follow up with. We have 97 properties with tight tanks in town. We have 77 properties that are purely agriculture. We have a lot more where it's a mixed use, you know, the house and ag on the property. And 21 that are failed that we need to follow up on. So, so there's a lot of, now that we have the data, or at least from a fixed point in time, we have to figure out a mechanism to keep it up to date, and to clarify a lot of question marks that we have. So we have probably close to 1,000 properties that we have to sort of figure out exactly what's going on. So it was pretty Herculean effort, and I really thank the board for that process. In terms of, as you know, the letters went out to homeowners who we identified as cesspools, either through the file review or based on pumping records. And we have hosted 2 virtual Q&A drop-in sessions so far that have not been well attended. I had one person last week. I know that at least one person wants to be on this week, but it's not, we have had a number of people calling the office, coming in with updated information or whatever, or with questions. So we have 2 more sessions, one this Thursday and the following Thursday, the 27th of April. I have some surgery scheduled. I will not be able to cover that session, so I'm hoping somebody else can do that. So that's April 27th. Based on the demand so far, I don't think we need to continue with them beyond the month of April. And we'll just, you know, we'll see how the process goes. Of those 218 cesspools, you know, that we sent out letters to, I think somewhere, I didn't count the exact number, a number of them have plans that have been approved, but have not yet been installed. So that's, you know, the numbers are definitely coming down. Usually we see, not this week's agenda, but most agendas, we see several cesspools that are being upgraded come before us. So we're not gonna knocking that number down. So that's helpful for improving the you know, TMDLs over time. And obviously these are the worst, you know, the least effective cesspool, septic systems, and you know, they're 50 years or older, so they're good ones to target to upgrade. So that's that. I also wanted to remind folks, you were asking about ways to help. As we haven't talked about it this time, but the Public Health Excellence Grant that we have, we are desperately looking to hire a shared services coordinator, sort of somebody who can manage the program, look for grants, work with all the participating communities to allocate workload and resources from the grant, as well as a shared inspector on behalf of those 6 communities. We haven't had any luck. We've reached out to a lot of the local universities. We have it on Indeed. We're looking possibly to hire a search firm, because we can't sustain the work involved with that grant unless we can hire people. the pay is relatively good. I mean, it's, 60,000 and above for both those positions, so hopefully we can, they're both posted on the town website if you want to look at the job descriptions and postings. If you know of anybody, or if you think of anybody who might know somebody who might be interested, please help us get the word out, because, it's a good program, it's helpful. We have gotten inspectional software with tablets for all 6 communities, which will really help. And there's more resources available through the program, but we can't. Matt is running around like a chicken with its head cut off, trying to keep up with all of that. And unless we can hire people, we really can't sustain that program. So if you can think of anybody who might be qualified and interested, send them Matt's way. That would be great.
Does what's on the website have the educational or experience?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the full job description
Okay.
as well as the posting.
Okay.
So that's all that I had. Matt?
The tight tank numbers that you said,
Mhm.
does that include the speech addresses? So does
Yeah.
77?
97.
97, okay.
I think I sent that list to Nancy because she wanted to, because we need to make sure they have their
O&Ms in place.
O&Ms in
Yeah.
place and so on, so I've sent that list to, I think I sent it to Nancy.
So annual town meeting is May 2nd.
Yes,
Am I posting the board as a meeting to be at that, or?
yes, let's do that just to
Mhm.
be on the safe side in
Okay.
case we have any, items that we need to, take a position on or anything like that. I haven't seen the warrant, I haven't looked. If there's anything else of interest for the Board of Health, other than our budget and potential override, which would support town operations as well as the Board of Health. But I don't know, I haven't followed closely, the warrant. I don't know if there's, I know we have a couple, warrant articles, one for the transfer station receipts reserve. Anything else?
No, I mean, it
I forget, we voted on them.
Right. Yeah, if you wanted to sit down and have a quick working meeting to review everything we have on for the articles and some corrections we can, just so we're all up to date going into town meeting, but that's up to you guys.
We could probably, why don't we put it on the next, on the May 1st meeting, if it's
Okay.
not too big an agenda?
It's
if-
growing.
It's growing, okay,
Yes.
well, then maybe we'll have to have something separate. But let's see how that goes. Anything else?
Well, I just in commenting on the category breakout that you did, I mean, one of the things that, jumps out is that, so we have a score of systems that have been determined to be failed. And I know, having looked at those, some of those have been sitting, kind of unaddressed for a long period of time. So it seems that, that we should have a strategy about how to, prioritize that, or what's the right sequence of steps. So I've just, asked Matt to think about that, just in terms of a, kind of workload, and even just kind of looking at, how long and where some of those sites are located. And, because, on its face, those are the ones that are presenting the most,
Yep.
public health threat, to.
Right, I
Do we need
agree.
a working meeting? Do we need another working meeting? No? Yes.
Let me, because we've just finished the data entry, and I haven't had a chance to even go through it with Matt at all. So let's do that, and if it makes sense to do a working meeting, for both the town meeting prep and, where we go with, this, as well as maybe the septic repair credit maybe thing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe towards the end of next week, before, I think I'm out of commission, the last couple of days of the week. So it'd have to be before then. So but we'll get back.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one
Schedule
thing,
working.
you know, to do, if it would be helpful if there was a consensus about, that we should look at the file, the failed ones, is maybe just to ask, Nancy to pull those and put them in, one place where then, I would be, willing to look at them and, maybe do some sort of summary if that would help, but just as a way to, just kind of get our heads around what's there, and think about it, but I'll just leave it to Matt to,
Some of those cesspools that have failed,
yeah,
and they haven't been addressed in some time.
yeah,
So, our regulation is up 3 years, or we'll say 3 years from now, right, February 1st, 2026, where those failed systems have never received a letter, never received any
Right.
attention, just sitting failed. So if we send a letter, say, you got a failed system, they have 2 years to upgrade it. Do we wanna give them the 3-year time frame, or make them upgrade it within, a year earlier? We have to think about
well, that's what I
strategy
mean, I
around
think we
that.
need to think about that, and I would just say that, I think the feedback that I know you've been getting has been, I think, primarily about the cost. And I think that we're gonna have to, just kind of start to think about how we want to address those issues, so. But I think for failed systems, I don't know what the right answer is, but,
Well,
Well,
failed
they-
systems have nothing to do with our regulation. They're
no,
failed,
they
they're
don't,
failed
yeah, they,
And then they
right,
have to
they
be
don't.
upgraded
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we need to look at those, and figure out a plan.
yeah.
So let's, I will get together with Matt, we'll go through that list, we can, segregate them, and I appreciate your offer of, doing a sort of a more detailed file review summary.
If you think it makes, like,
Yeah.
if you think it makes sense, so, whether we would, take the oldest for, I don't know, however you
Yeah.
want to go about
Yep.
doing it, kind of thing, we could kind of take a look at
Okay,
how bad it,
Um,
how bad it is.
and then we'll, tentatively look to schedule a working meeting, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And,
I'll check my calendar, it's chock full
okay,
Yeah, mine is
with
pretty.
things.
okay,
But, yeah, we'll try to squeeze one in at some point.
Yeah.
We probably should.
yeah. Or maybe we we start like a working meeting early on the May 1st, instead of starting
Oh,
at
then-
4, go to 3:30 or something like that to have,
Well, when we
Okay.
work a meeting, just start the meeting early, you mean?
right,
Yeah.
so, okay. Anything else at this point? If not,
Okay, so I move that we adjourn this meeting at 5:21 PM.
Second?
motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone.